Russia said that several so-called unfriendly countries are now gradually softening their stance toward Moscow, suggesting a slow but noticeable shift in diplomatic tone and political posture. This message emerged as world leaders gathered in Johannesburg on November 22, 23 for the G20 Summit, turning the event into a key stage for delicate conversations about the Ukraine war and global economic ties. At the summit, many countries reportedly proposed steps to boost their economic and political ties with Russia, according to a Kremlin official speaking on November 23 about the behind-the-scenes discussions. The Kremlin official said that even some unfriendly countries privately pitched proposals to improve economic relations with Moscow, seeking ways to revive trade and joint projects despite ongoing tensions. The Russian diplomat declined to disclose which specific countries made these approaches, explaining that he did not want any of their partners or allies to take offense or react negatively to such revelations. When the war began in 2022, many Western nations sharply curtailed economic cooperation with Moscow, cutting investments and trade links while imposing sweeping sanctions on key Russian sectors. In response, Russia formally branded dozens of these states as unfriendly countries, accusing their governments of hostility toward Russian citizens, companies, and core national interests. This unfriendly designation allowed Moscow to impose diplomatic curbs and subject businesses from those nations to tougher scrutiny, special approvals, and other restrictive measures. However, Russia has repeatedly stressed that it views only the governments of these countries as unfriendly, insisting that it does not consider the peoples or entire nations themselves as adversaries. The Kremlin aide now claims to have held constructive forward-looking discussions with several such countries, hinting at potential pathways to restore cooperation in select areas. All of this unfolded as the United States pushed a 28-point peace plan aimed at ending the war in Ukraine, trying to balance pressure on Moscow with a negotiated framework acceptable to Kyiv. While G20 leaders met in Johannesburg, US and Ukrainian officials held parallel talks in Geneva on November 23, underscoring how diplomacy over Ukraine was unfolding on multiple tracks at once. Those Geneva talks focused on a peace plan for Ukraine that had previously drawn criticism from Kyiv and some European Union members, who feared it might weaken Ukraine's position. Earlier leaked proposals had suggested that the draft deal appeared to favor Russia in certain areas, and reports said the plan was initially welcomed in Moscow by President Vladimir Putin. Following this backlash, the United States and Ukraine announced that they had agreed on an updated and refined peace framework, signaling efforts to address Kyiv's concerns and adjust key points. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that some important issues still needed to be resolved in the coming days, indicating that the negotiations remain delicate and incomplete. According to Rubio, the revised proposal will be sent to Russia only after Washington and Kyiv formally agree on the text, making internal alignment a prerequisite for any approach to Moscow.
All right, we had a very good day today. I think we made a tremendous amount of progress, even from the last time I spoke to you, and I apologize for keeping you waiting, but there was more work to be done. We began almost 3 weeks ago with a foundational document that we socialized and ran by both sides, and with input from both sides. And one of the things that happens when you've been involved in this now for 10 months is you get a pretty good sense of what the priorities and the red lines and the important issues are for both sides. And so that allowed us to create a foundational document, which has been an ongoing working document. In fact, over the last 96 hours or more, there's been extensive engagement with the Ukrainian side, including our Secretary of the Army and others, being on the ground in Kyiv, meeting with relevant stakeholders across the Ukrainian political spectrum in the legislative branch and the executive branch and the military and others to further sort of narrow these points. We arrived here today with one goal, and the goal was to take 28 points, 26 points, depending on which version as it continued to evolve, and try to narrow the ones that were open items. And we have achieved that today in a very substantial way. Now, obviously, like any final agreement, they'll have to be agreed upon by the presidents, and there are a couple issues that we need to continue to work on. But I think the report today is that I think today was worthwhile. It was very, very. It is probably the most productive day we have had on this issue, maybe in the entirety of our engagement, but certainly in a very long time. But work remains, and because this continues to be a working process. I don't want to declare victory or finality here. There's still some work to be done. But we are much further ahead today at this time than we were when we began this morning and where we were a week ago for certain.
Dear journalist, dear Marco, and I want to confirm that we have very productive first session with distinguished American delegation. We have very good progress, and we are moving forward to the just and lasting peace. Ukrainian people deserve and want this peace more than anyone in this planet. We thank our big friends, United States and personal President Trump and his team to their commitment to bring this peace. And we will continue to work today, as Secretary said. We will be working and in coming days to join proposals, and we will also will engage our European friends. And of course, the final words will be of our leaders, of the President of the United States and Ukraine. And I hope that we can achieve the good progress today. Thank you.
Before the Geneva talks, President Trump had publicly accused Ukraine of showing zero gratitude for U.S. military and financial support, adding political pressure to an already sensitive process. After the meeting, President Volodymyr Zelensky said there were signals that Trump was now hearing Ukraine's side more clearly, hinting at a possible shift in tone from the White House. I wish you health. Today has been a day of numerous meetings and negotiations basically since morning. It's been calls, briefings, and consultations. The Ukrainian delegation in Geneva has already held a series of meetings with the American side and with our European partners as well. The delegation has just reported on the results of their discussions, and these were substantive conversations. A lot is changing. We are working very carefully on the steps needed to end the war. Today, the negotiations in Switzerland will continue, and the teams will be working practically until night, and we will be receiving further reports from them. It is important that there is dialogue with the American representatives, and there are signals President Trump's team is hearing us. I also spoke today with President of France Emmanuel Macron and with the Prime Ministers of Canada, Croatia, and Luxembourg. Just now, I spoke with Chancellor of Germany Friedrich Merz. I thank them all. There have also been many more messages. Everyone is offering support, sharing advice, providing information, and I want to thank each and every person who is offering this help to us, to all of Ukraine. And it is important to ensure that the steps toward ending the war are effective, and that everything is workable. Ukraine has never wanted this war, and we will never be an obstacle to peace. Diplomacy has been reinvigorated, and that's good. Very good. We expect that the outcome will be the right steps. The first priority is a reliable peace, guaranteed security, respect for our people, respect for everyone who gave their life defending Ukraine against Russian aggression. Tomorrow will be no less active. We are defending Ukraine's interests. The strength of our position, our state position, our national, Ukrainian position, lies in the fact that it is our shared position. The unity of Ukrainians in defending our national interests, our independence, and our sovereignty is what makes the difference. There are directives for the Ukrainian delegation. There is a Ukrainian course that our delegation is following, and it is highly desirable that no contradictory signals, non-Ukrainian signals, be coming from Ukraine. I am hearing now that partner intelligence services are informing them that the Russian position has begun to make its way through certain actors from Ukraine as well. This certainly does not help. We have our state position, we have our Ukrainian dignity, and we must move in a way that strengthens it, not undermines it. I expect that those whom this concerns will hear me now. Having a Ukrainian passport means feeling responsibility for Ukraine. And it is truly evident that millions of Ukrainians firmly support the state position, firmly support our independence and Ukrainian sovereignty. People must benefit from every political decision, and that is why we are working very thoroughly, very seriously, very attentively on every step and on every document together with all our partners. Thank you to everyone around the world who stands with Ukraine. Thank you to America, to the President of the United States, and to all the leaders in Europe and around the world who feel the significance of what can be decided right now. Glory to Ukraine.